عمو, are you inside? Okay, okay حبيبي, okay, okay.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Before I begin, I just wanted to remind everyone to make sure you're wearing your masks on your face properly. And if you haven't brought your own rug this time, inshallah, for future times, bring your own rug, mainly to make sure we don't waste a lot of papers. But jazakumullah khair for as much as you can in taking your own spots and keeping your distance. Today, inshallah, in the few minutes we have together in this khutbah, I wanted to paint a picture. And I wanted you to help me and lend me your imagination for this picture to be properly woven. So I'm going to give you a few scenarios, and using your imagination, build upon them, and then in the second khutbah, inshallah, we'll bring everything together to the extent possible. So let us begin by painting this picture. So the first scenario. Imagine that you are at a beach, in an island, watching the sunset. And it's a beautiful, picturesque scene. And you're very calm and happy. No worries in this world. Many people would imagine and wish to have this type of scene outside their house, in their backyard, that they can visit whenever they want. And in many different religions, there are different tasks, there are different things you could do, either physically or spiritually, or both, to have that type of serenity and calmness. So I ask you, if I were to tell you that there is a magic pill that could transfer you from wherever you are, any time in this world, any place in this world, to this location, this picturesque location, this soothness, this calmness of the beach, of the beautiful scenery that's around you, would you take it? So that's the first scenario. Moving on to the second scenario, the second image that we're going to paint. Imagine that you have a very busy day at your office, in your work. And it was a very tough day for whatever reason. Everyone knows their own situations and what could be a tough day in your specific world. Use your imagination to paint this picture. And as you're leaving, your boss sees you and he sees your face and he sees how, your face shows that it was a really tough day. And he says, it's okay, I got you. I have this ticket to a massage therapist in town. Very hard to get this ticket. And I was going to go there today, but I'll give it to you. And I tell you before you go that this specific massage therapist is extremely valuable and that everyone really wants to go. It's very hard to get this type of ticket. Because not only is it good for your muscles and your joints to relax, but it's also almost a free therapy session. This person talks with you and lets you vent and talks back to you and gives you the most amazing advice. People call specifically for this advice. And so, take this ticket, go enjoy your afternoon, and release and make sure you're comfortable. Would you take this ticket? The third scenario. Imagine there's someone that you love, that you really want to get close to. What would you do to gain their affection? If they were to tell you to do something, would you go do it? If someone were to tell you this person loves such and such, would you do such and such to go and get closer to that person to make sure that you get their affection? In the same vein, if something that you wanted from someone, you wanted a favor from someone, and you know that this person likes this specific action or this specific gift, would you go and get that gift or do this action such that you could get this favor in return? Now let's up the ante a bit on the imagination. So we gave 3 scenarios so far. The first one is the beach. The second one is the massage therapist. And the third one is what you would do to someone that you really love. For this third scenario, imagine that, God forbid, you enter a very bad car accident. And it's your fault. You rear-ended the person in front of you. And while everyone is okay, the cars are totaled, the guy comes from the car that's in front of you, and is yelling and is going berserk and is really angry with you. And all he tells you is, I'm calling my lawyer. And you notice at that point, the status difference between you and the car that you just hit, the person you just hit. That person obviously looks well-dressed, has a fancy car, is calling his lawyer, and you're there in your smaller, cheaper car where you were just trying to get from point A to point B, and you hit this person, and now your life is going to go into ruins. And so imagine that you're sitting on the curb, just holding your head in your hand, and you're trying to think of what should I do? What am I going to do with this? How am I going to get out of this situation? And then randomly, one of the people who saw the accident comes over to you and just says, it's okay, don't worry. Here's my card. I so happen to be a lawyer, and I could defend you in court. I saw what happened and I could go to the court. And I'll tell you from now, I know that you're in the wrong, but it seems like you might need some representation, so I will stand on your behalf. And of course, you would be ecstatic, you'd be so happy at that low point to have that help, to have that assistance, even if there's no guarantee yet. And so you take the card, call them up, you set your appointment, and then the day in court comes. And in the courtroom, you notice that this lawyer that was representing you is actually very good friends with the judge. And you're not really sure what's going on. And he defends you, and he says, like, this is the first time, it's not meant to, this is not his problem, it's not his, he's not trying to hurt someone, to be lenient, and so on and so forth. And he's able to get you out of the case, out of the ticket or whatever hardship, without lying, purely just saying the truth and going with the scenario as is. And so, again, you're ecstatic, you don't believe this, so you talk to this lawyer afterwards and you ask him, why would you represent someone like me, a random bystander, and you have no relationship between me and you? And so then the lawyer tells you, well, you might not remember me, but we were actually in a course together in undergrad, and we were in a group project, and you just really impressed me. So I went my way, you went your way, but I recognized you in that situation, and I went on a hunch, and it turned out to be you. And just by our interactions in that small group setting, I really liked your behavior, the way you were interacting with all of us. And so I thought, why not? This person's a good person. I will intercede on his behalf. Could you imagine the luck of that situation, of the entire contrived situation that you would be in that scenario? Now imagine the follow-up scenario. As you're leaving the courtroom, you find Jeff Bezos, the head of Amazon, CEO of Amazon, and he sees you, and he looks just bored and depressed, and he's like, hey, you, come over here. I'm bored, I don't have anyone to talk to. For every word you talk with me, I'll give you $1. I have a lot of money, I don't need it. Let's just talk. And so, why not? You just got out of a courtroom and you're talking to one of the richest men in the world. But that's not all. As you're talking with him, Bill Gates sees him, and he says, no, I want to talk to this person. Who is Jeff talking to? And Jeff says, for every word you talk with me, I'll give you 10 times that. I'll give you $10 for everything you give me. And then as you're talking with him, you find, later on, the Bitcoin developer, the person who invented Bitcoin. And he's like, no, talk with me. Every single thing you tell me, I'll give you 700 times the amount of money that either of them promised you. Nice. That's not a bad gig at all. Now, imagine the sixth scenario, that you're going into your new job, and your boss tells you, welcome to the job, this place is full of very smart people, and we have this high rise, and so I haven't actually set your floor yet, but here's the deal. Do you see that staircase over there? Start climbing. Wherever you land, however tired you get, you could have an office on that floor, and you'll be paid similar to those people. And just FYI, just know that the higher ups are the executives, and the lower down are more of the lower tiered workers. And so, just go as high as you can, and you'll be paid relative to where you land. And now the final scenario for this picture that we're painting together. Imagine that you're a teacher, and you have a modest job, you just tutor some people here and there. And when you teach them, they go home, they tell their friends, and you might sometimes get some referrals and so on and so forth. So imagine that after you're old and you're retired, and you're living in your own home, and you don't have the source of income coming anymore, randomly someone comes and knocks on the door and says, hello, are you such and such? And you're like, yes. And they say, here are my dues. So you're confused, like, what is this? And they just say, these are my dues, here you go. And they give it to you and they leave. Okay, that's interesting. The next day, someone else comes and does the same exact thing. Hello, are you Mr. So-and-so? here are your dues. The third day, someone else comes, and so on and so forth. And every time you try to catch up with them, but at that age you're older, you can't really run after them as much as they're the younger ones. But one day you finally catch one of these people, and you ask him, what is this? This has been going on for so long. People are coming and telling me this is your due, and I don't even know you. And he's like, well, you might not know me, but my father taught me something, whose friend taught him something, whose other friend taught him something, and I linked the chain back and found out that you were the one that taught me. And so I was like, well, it can't be for free, so I have to come and give you my dues for teaching that chain of people what I have been taught. So, what do all these things have in common? The magic pill that calms the heart, the free therapy session, and the words of wisdom, a way to get closer to the people you love, a free lawyer, an unimaginable amount of wealth, a free promotion just by climbing up the stairs, and a wealth that never stops giving. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. So while in the first khutbah, I gave a bunch of scenarios and imagery, just storytelling really. But there's a point to all of that. All of these things are actually combined. Some of you may have already figured it out. But let's go through each one of them. And the major theme here, if you haven't figured it out already, is that you can get all of these different rewards, magic pill, this lawyer, all of these by interacting with the Quran. The Quran gives you all these benefits. It is that friend, it is that lawyer, it is that calmness, that serenity. And so if you want that magic pill, you know in the Quran it tells you, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. You know that if you just recite the Quran, you read the Quran, you interact with the Quran, it will give you soothness, it will calm your heart. You can transfer you to that place, that magic place wherever you are in this world, to that place, and it'll just soothe you. The free therapy session. The Quran is full of parables, it's full of different stories, full of lessons that we could learn from. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He revealed the Quran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He would give him all these stories in his moments of hardship, to tell him, these are what happened to the people from before, the story of Yusuf, the story of Musa, the story of Ibrahim, all these people, all these stories. They're there for us to learn from, to understand from, to learn these wisdom from. And of course, by reciting the Quran, these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would pray. And if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to talk to you, you recite the Quran. These are the words of Allah. This is the interaction between you and Allah. And if you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you interact with this book, this golden book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed through the Prophet. The lawyer, the intercessor on the Day of Judgment. On the Day of Judgment, this Quran will come between you and your judgment and say, oh Allah, this person used to recite me. Please, I am standing on his behalf or on her behalf and tell you, please forgive his sin. Please raise his status. Please take my word against all his bad sins. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take this into consideration and will actually listen to the Quran as it intercedes on your behalf. And all you have to do, you interact with this Quran in your life, currently, when you find a chance, on a daily basis. The more you interact with it, the more you interact with Quran, the stronger your intercessor will be on the day of judgment. And of course, we know that the reward of reading the Quran, for every letter we read, we get 10 times the reward. And it can be multiplied up to 700 times with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's generosity, which beats any dollar that Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates were to give us. And then on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell you, recite and elevate. How much ever you recite on that Day of Judgment from what you learn in this world, you will rise in rank on the Day of Judgment. Again, based exactly on what you have done. You're climbing up the stairs, up to your own effort, and you have the time, you have the opportunity right now in this world. It's never too late to learn the Quran, to memorize the Quran, to interact with the Quran. And last but not least, remember that the best thing that you can teach someone are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you teach someone any letter of the Quran, any surah of the Quran, that person, whenever they recite the Quran, you will get the reward without diminishing from his or her. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those companions of the Quran. And we memorize the Quran and we learn the Quran and to interact with the Quran. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help the Quran intercede on our behalf on the day of judgment. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم لنا فيما اعطيت اللهم لا تدع لنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا الا غفرته ولا هما الا فرجته ولا مريضا الا شفيته ولا ضالا الا هديته ولا حاجه من حوائج الدنيا والاخره هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاح. اللهم علمنا من القران ما نسينا اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته اناء الليل واطراف النهار على الوجه الذي يرضي عنه. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم واستغفر الله انه غفور رحيم واقم الصلاه.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا واستعينوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يؤمنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم
قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Assalamu alaikum. The time for Friday prayer, as you see, today is at 12:05 and 1:05. So let other people know. I think some people still have questions about that. Classes are regular. If we have classes regularly offered at the masjid, please check with the imam. He has several type of educational information or classes, so please try to attend or get at least see that what's available. CIMIC Youth have organized a virtual seminar for this Sunday, and it will be at 6:15 p.m. They will have a real good speaker, and the topic is how to love the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So please try to attend this. Dawah work, this is very important. I want you all to pay attention to this. Dawah work statistics at the farmers market. We keep on saying, please help the farmers market. The number of volunteers were 84. It's hard to believe that many people volunteered. May Allah bless them all. Number of visitors that stopped at the booth were 847. Number of Quran distributed, 348. Number of brochures were distributed, 798. And a special thanks to all the volunteers. Please make dua for them. It was not easy to get up in the morning on Saturday and go to the farmer's market and take all the juice and food, what have you, over there. A reminder to mail your CIMIC nomination papers. I think you were almost going to be late if you don't do it today. CIMIC General Body meeting, inshallah, Sunday, December 5th at 2:30 will be online. So it'll be on Zoom, inshallah, you'll get more information about that. Safety reminder, please just keep doing what you're doing. May Allah bless you. no parking in the neighbor's parking spots, and no double parking. Lunch today, we have gyro sandwiches provided by Bangladeshi family. Also, we have homemade dessert provided by a Palestinian family. Please make dua for them, $6 donation. If you'd like to contribute to next lunch, let me know. 2 kidney donors are needed. Assalamu alaikum.